What is up, guys? Welcome on back to the news with TK. And outside of Letitia James facing criminal investigations, she's also facing ethics and possibly disbarment as an attorney in New York, which would disqualify her from being the attorney general. Well, we got some breaking news while we were in the influencer White House press briefing. Some news just broke. We're going to roll the intro and get directly into it. So welcome on back to the news with TK. I'm going to put this up for you guys here on the screen as an ethics complaint against Letitia James calls for the New York state courts to investigate the Trump administration's fraud claims. New York Attorney General Letitia James is the subject of a new state-level ethics complaint filed by pro-Trump legal nonprofit American First Legal. The AFL complaint filed last week adds to recent woes for James, who's facing a criminal referral from the Trump administration related to accusations of mortgage fraud for a state prosecutor who has maligned, and this is a quote, "For a state prosecutor who has maligned the president of the United States for political gain, public accountability will serve as a cure to Letitia James' endless lawfare and abuse of power," AFL Vice President Dan Epstein said in a statement to Fox News Digital. The complaint was filed with the New York State Unified Court Systems Committee on Professional Standards, the state-level entity that handles discipline matters for attorneys whose principal office is in the Albany region. The complaint requests that the Attorney Grievance Committee open an investigation into James over accusations of mortgage fraud levied against her earlier this month by the Federal Housing Finance Agency, or the FHFA. We've talked about the stuff that's gone on from Crazy Eddie's cousin and broke that down. That was in a video earlier today. The accusations were published in a criminal referral sent earlier this month to the Department of Justice by FHFA Director William Pulte. In the referral, Pulte accused James of falsifying mortgage records to obtain more favorable loans. And what Director Pulte uncovered is true, if what he said is true, then we have a sitting state attorney general who made false certifications to the United States in return for federal benefits. That's a crime. James's actions violate the New York State Bar Association rules of professional conduct. According to the AFL's complaint, those rules prohibit lawyers from engaging in illegal conduct that can adversely impact the lawyer's honesty and trustworthiness. It also bars conduct that may not be deemed illegal, but that involves dishonesty, fraud, deceit, and misrepresentation. The New York Attorney General's office has hired high-powered attorney Abby Lowell to defend James. Now, what's interesting here also as well is, we've seen that the FBI was at her office. We know that the FBI also showed up to a house in Virginia. But this isn't the first time that a high-profile New York attorney has been disbarred for dishonesty. And I'm talking about Bill Clinton. That's right. Former President Bill Clinton was disbarred from the New York State Bar for dishonesty, not for anything criminal. And I could see the exact same thing happening here with Letitia James. I did see some interesting comments on the news as well from some experts, and I'm going to roll that clip here.
I'm managing partner at M.R. Parker Law, Michael Parker, and mortgage fraud expert Kat Espinda. I want to start with you, Mr. Parker. What kind of exposure does the Attorney General have of New York for filing a form claiming primary residency in a state where she did not reside?
So, a lot of people might think that she won't be charged with anything, right? That this is purely political. But this isn't political at all. And I want to go through kind of first the three ways people get charged with crimes in federal court, and then explain what her exposure is. So the first thing that can happen is there can be an investigation. The DEA thinks you're doing something wrong, selling drugs, and they investigate you. The second is that there's an ongoing case and someone offers a proffer, so to testify against you in exchange for leniency. And the third is a referral. And in this case, the FHFA referred Ms. James for prosecution to the DOJ. This wasn't the Trump administration. This wasn't Pam Bondi going after her. This is an independent federal agency referring for prosecution. So they're taking it very seriously. And you might not know this, and your viewers might not know this, but this happened in 2013. A Michigan Supreme Court justice was prosecuted in federal court. She faced 30 years in prison and ended up taking a plea and getting 366 days. So if you ask me what Trish James could see as far as exposure, she could be charged with RICO, she could be charged with mortgage fraud, but really she's looking at decades of exposure. Now, in reality, what will she face? Could be a year or two, could be probation, but this isn't the first time that a Democrat has gotten in trouble for mortgage fraud.
How those consequences could cascade. Michael, with this type of a referral, could the New York bar potentially take a look at this and assess that they would want to open their own investigation regarding assertions that the Attorney General made in Virginia that wouldn't be consistent with her office holding in New York?
Yeah, absolutely. And especially when it comes to honesty. So whenever an attorney calls into question their honesty. So let's say I sued someone in a civil case and it was for fraud and they were an attorney, the federal judge in that case could refer it to the state bar for disbarment. So anytime that it goes to the core of an attorney's honesty, the state bar could come in and disbar them. I mean, look at what happened to Bill Clinton. Really, the issue with him was honesty, right? It was about his candor and his character. So I think absolutely this could impact her ability to practice law in the state of New York.
She probably will find a friendlier group of potential jurors there, and even those who would think about taking up the matter in the bar. It's a bluer jurisdiction in New York than she might find elsewhere, particularly in Virginia.
Like there's a lot of interesting things that happen. I just feel like, look, I feel like everything should stay the same. If you have I don't want to say you can't evolve with a viewpoint. But if no one is above the law, and that is the mantra and the thing that you've pushed for so many years, then no one is above the law. Plain and simple. This isn't rocket science here. But let me show you this.
Nobody's above the law. We only have one system of law for everyone. Nothing about being an elected official gives you a license to commit crimes or a license to get away with it if you do. Why step up politically and defend a judge or a prosecutor? That's supposed to be a non-political part of our system. It's not like we didn't know it was going to be terrible. And it is terrible. He really did have a judge arrested today. Arresting a judge today. Are you kidding me?
Anyway, I thought it was interesting and I thought I should bring this to you. Does she get disbarred before she gets arrested? I don't know. But I do feel that Letitia James's political career is all but over. There will be no run for the governor of New York. There will be no anything. Maybe there'll be a cushy lobbyist job for her later, if she doesn't get arrested. But like I said, normally when the FBI shows up to your office, if they're taking boxes or documents or, and I've seen some of the stuff already where people are like, oh, they were probably there for their normal duties. Yeah, I don't think so. They don't show up to a house that's listed in a, criminal complaint for mortgage fraud and your office on the same day. Sorry. And there's more about that. If you're on X, you can, go look it up. There's multiple photos and stuff too of people showing them coming in and out of that office, as well as what was going on in Virginia. Now we've seen websites like the Daily Caller show up to that house in Virginia. I don't think it's smart for anybody to show up in anybody's home. That's just me. But I do think that these charges should be meted out and handled, whether it's disbarring her from the Bar Association and removing her as Attorney General. Because right now, every single case that she touches as the Attorney General of New York could be overturned on appeal. Like that's where we're at right now. And I mean, there's some serious cases in New York that the Attorney General could have her hands in that could be cause for being reversed because of her unethical and illegal behavior. I leave the question to you. What do you guys think? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Let's have a conversation. Give the video a big thumbs up if you like what I do. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And as always, stay petty, my friends.